Welcome to the Stack Supplement Podcast, the premier source for supplement news and reviews.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we run down all the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. And like last week, we're going to kick off with a bit of admin. Last week, if you caught the episode, we put in a bit of an exclusive announcement, which we actually only shared this week. I'm recording this episode a day late, but we included a little bit of an announcement saying that this year's Brand of the Year Awards is going to include a beverage energy drink category. And we kind of made it exclusive to the podcast. And I actually have another one for you because this was something we had an idea for last year, but with everything that happened, we didn't feel it was good timing, and this year kind of works out even better. So another exclusive announcement that we're going to just share here for the hell of it, we'll probably share on the website later this month, is that for long-time fans of the website Stacked, and I'm talking way back, we have actually been running the Brand of the Year Awards for 10 years, or arguably 9 times actually. For whatever reason, I can't even remember myself, is that after the first time we did it, we didn't do it the year after. And then we started them back again. I think maybe people were like, you should definitely keep doing them. So I think we started them up again the next year. So even though we've been doing for 10 years, we've only had 9 winners. For whatever unknown reason, I skipped that one back in, must have been 2012, I think. So we decided to celebrate, and we decided to do something. Like I said, we had this idea last year. We didn't go through with it purely because of everything that happened in the world. And coincidentally, this is the 10th Brand of the Year Awards that we'll be running at the end of this year. It's crazy that it's been that many times we've done it. We originally did it at the end of the year, purely because there were a lot of brands that we saw in other awards categories, other awards and sites and stuff like that we didn't see space for, or brands that we liked getting the nod, whether they be international or just not widely available. And so that's kind of why we created them. But this is the 10th one at the end of the year. And to make it special and really mark the occasion, we're going to do a brand of the decade, or brand of the 10 years, however you want to call it. We haven't finalized the name yet, but you get the idea. It's a celebration of just our 10th Brand of the Year Awards. And so we are going to have, this obviously is only going to be an award for this year. This isn't going to be something that's ongoing like the energy drink Brand of the Year. Or other categories, but it's going to be a nod to a brand that has been around for the majority of the decade since we did our first Brand of the Year Awards, and has just proven itself. And it's crazy because we have pretty much, when it comes to these awards, regardless of whether it's Brand of the Year or the spin-off categories like Functional or Newcomer of the Year, we don't even really talk about it until November, December. In fact, I usually write down nominees or nominations in November on a little notepad that no one ever sees, and I maybe discuss with one other person in late December. And so it's interesting, we don't really start counting points or gauging or seeing who we think is in the mix until around there, at least officially. And it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting list of nominees that obviously, because this is based on what brands have done over the decade, we don't necessarily need to wait until the end of the year to see what every brand has done for those other categories that are based solely on the year. This is based on the past decade, so pretty much the brand who's going to win it, I guess, would have probably already done everything that it needed to have done already, because again, it's 10 years. 3 months at the end of the last 10 years is nothing. So we're going to be sitting down, going through the brands that have been around, just evolved, chopped, changed, done things where they needed to, made changes and shifts with the industry. And I think it's like I said, it was an idea that we came up with last year, and I think it's going to be an important award. I think it's our chance to really show or give back to a brand that isn't necessarily going to fall into the category of our usual awards. Like I said this to many brands, brand of the year is specifically based on that year. I don't really care what you did in 2017, 18, 19, or 20. The brand of the year is based entirely on what you did that year. So this year's brand of the year winner is going to be based on 2021. It's got nothing to do with what you did in 2020 or 2022. It's based on 2021. And it's always difficult. The person who would take away brand of the decade wouldn't necessarily qualify for that, because you get to these brands that sometimes burst onto the scene and just make a mountain of noise and attention. Whereas a brand that I guess is going to qualify for the brand of the decade is going to be someone who has just been incredibly consistent and just stayed and again evolved and changed with the time. So we'll probably make that announcement, I think, maybe next week, the week after. This is the Olympia week, so there's a lot going on. And by a lot, I mean a lot. We are extremely backed up, so if we're lucky to get this podcast episode recorded and out. And you'll definitely see extra stories shared on the website. I think we're already doing above what we usually do each day. So, again, we can look forward to that brand of the decade announcement. I'm going to aim to get it out next week, and it'll be announced in line with those other awards that we have at the end of the year. So you'll have the energy drink brand of the year, functional brand of the year, newcomer, international, and of course the overall brand of the year. And then we'll throw the brand of the decade either somewhere in the middle at the end. But we're definitely going to be taking an incredible amount of time with this one and really, really thinking it through, and look forward to naming what will be the first ever and only for at least another 10 years, the brand of the decade. So again, nice little exclusive announcement. We look forward to honoring the deserving brand for that one. From there, we shoot straight into the news and updates from past week, and it was a jam-packed week. One of the big reasons that we're so backed up right now was we just had so many stories that we couldn't fit in last week to share this week, and they're pouring on this week as well. As I said, this episode is recorded on Monday, so we definitely had the Facebook, Instagram outage to deal with, which wasn't fun, but we still powered through and got stuff out. But we're going to kick off this episode with news from Pharma Freak, who has been was pretty noisy in the first few months of the year, bringing out and teasers and announcements all surrounding its all-new Red Label series. Now, this is a line of supplements that distinctively features a red branding, so it's very different from its original yellow as well as its black that we've seen it do in the past. This is a red branded series of supplements, and we interviewed Alex from Pharma Freak earlier in the year, and he kind of described the whole concept of the Red Label series, and it's that it's a hybrid set of hybrid supplements. So each product kind of has two purposes, at the very least two purposes, and they're things that he personally uses himself, which so it's going to result in products that we may not have seen brought together before. And this past week we finally got confirmation of which of the Red Label supplements that Pharma Freak previewed a few months ago is going to be the first to come to market, and it's going to be Creatine Freak. And with that announcement, we got a little bit more detail about what Creatine Freak is going to include. And it is indeed a creatine supplement, hence the name, and the other Creatine Freak products we've seen before this one. It is going to feature a combination of two creatine sources, a monohydrate and HCl, but alongside that, you're going to get the GDA super berberine as well as the nootropic lion's mane. So this is neither of those are ingredients you would typically see in a creatine. Most of the time you get absorption ingredients or sometimes betaine, usually even muscle building ingredients thrown in the mix. But true to the whole concept, the Red Label concept, Pharma Freak's thrown in super berberine and lion's mane to really give the creatine supplement those extra benefits and that hybrid approach that it promised would be consistent throughout the Red Label series. Alongside that, in fact, a couple of days after that bit of information surfaced that Creatine Freak would be the first of the supplements from the series to launch, and I believe it's coming within like the next couple weeks, before the end of the month at least. We got a preview of Supersonic Freak. Now, this is another Red Label product the brand previewed, and all we really got originally was that it would be a 2-in-1 product, which was kind of what we had already known every supplement the Red Label series would be, and that it would be a high pump, high focus pre-workout. The preview that we got this past week for Supersonic Freak kind of told us what we're actually kind of in for. So that 2-in-1 call out that we had earlier in the year is actually related to the the product having 2 products in one. So Supersonic Freak isn't going to be, it will be a pre-workout, but it's not going to be your typical bulk tub. It's going to have a tub of powder and a separate supplement that's in capsule format. Now, we don't know kind of what split we're looking at here. Like, we don't know exactly why there's 2 in this one box. But if I had to guess, based on, again, purely every supplement we've seen, I'm suspecting that the 2 supplements, as I said, the brand describes this as a pump and focus pre-workout. My guess is the pump ingredients are in one and the focus is in another. And we do know it's a comprehensive pre-workout, so the capsules are likely to also include stimulants, not necessarily just for focus. And the idea would be that you combine them together. Maybe there might be more servings of the energy than pump, so you can kind of scale it up or even scale it down if you like. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a pretty interesting supplement. Now, I have seen brands sell pre-workout stacks before and even do special edition box sets where they combine 2 supplements, but I cannot recall a brand that made 2 specific products that you could only get in this one box set. I'm sure, I have to imagine there's someone out there who's done it. No one comes to mind. One probably will, and I'll be kicking myself, but as far as I know, it's incredibly unique either way. It's not something you ever see common at all, but yeah, very interesting. You can get a closer look at both the Creatine Freak and Supersonic Freak on our website. Just type in Pharma Freak and they'll pop up. But from there, we move on to a couple of other stories from Black Magic. Black Magic is it's a favorite brand, one of my favorite brands. I am always a big fan of companies that come out with just great consistency. Chemex is another one where they just pump out supplement after supplement, and they get a reputation where you just know that it's going to be a packed out formula. Core Nutritionals is one of those brands. PES is to some extent. They don't really have as loaded formulas as the likes of Core sometimes do. But Black Magic is another one that's just up there that has reliable supplements. And last week we got news that it is finally entering the stimulant-free pump pre-workout market with a product called Ectoplasm. Now, Black Magic has had a lot of different categories, a lot of popular ones from protein powder to amino to pre-workout and fat loss, but it has not hit that pump pre-workout space. And Ectoplasm is going to finally put the reputable brand in that area. We didn't get any details as to what kind of things we're getting in the supplement. But again, Black Magic is known for quality, well-dosed supplements, as well as synergistic formulas, so you can count on this packing some pretty solid ingredients and compounds that will most definitely deliver on that promise of better pumps. In addition to the news of Ectoplasm, Black Magic also announced the return of its Berserk Voodoo series. Now, this is a line of special edition flavors that Black Magic first did last year for Halloween, and they were both called Voodoo. It was Berserk Voodoo Punch Red Voodoo Punch and Blue Voodoo Punch, and they were separate flavors, obviously similar name and tub design, and they were both flavors for the brand's Berserk pre-workout. Now, the Black Magic has brought that concept back for 2021 once again for Halloween, which is at the end of the month, but it's a bit different. So instead of the flavors being called Voodoo Punch, it's now a series called Berserk Voodoo, and there are 2 separate flavors of Berserk Voodoo. So kind of same concept with like a different kind of structure. And those flavors are Goulet and Witch Haze. So they're completely new, so they're not like different names on Blue Voodoo Punch or Red Voodoo Punch. But they will be limited, of course, being themed around Halloween, and they are going to feature that alternative formula that you got in last year's Voodoo Berserks, and that includes different dosages ingredients, including 10 grams of citrulline malate and a higher 400 milligrams of caffeine. So yeah, again, like with a Pharma Freak, just head to the site, type in Black Magic, get a closer look, find out more on all of those products. And we now shoot from there to Rise, who had a pretty interesting story, although something we suspected, or at least even knew about a few months ago. If you remember, Rise shared an image of it was like a mural at its gym that it's put together. I believe it's at its office or headquarters. And in that mural, there were different logos of nostalgic, iconic candy companies, including Bazooka Bubblegum, Smarties, and Ring Pop. Now, it kind of was confirmed that the brand would be doing flavor collaborations with each of those candies at some point. Sunny D was also on the mural, but this was after they had already come out with their Sunny D flavor. But last week we got a first look at what is going to be that Ring Pop collaboration, and it is a cherry Ring Pop flavor for Rise's Loaded Pre, which is sort of its cheapest pre-workout, but still a loaded pre-workout, or at least fully dosed pre-workout, that promises more focus, but still has other ingredients for that comprehensive experience, but at least a simpler formula or a more cost-effective formula compared to the two other pre-workouts from Rise. But either way, yeah, Ring Pop is the Ring Pop Cherry or Cherry Ring Pop is going to be launching some point in the near future for the Loaded Pre, and you can get a look at that product on our website. But yeah, it's kind of predicted. We knew they were going to be doing flavor collaboration with Ring Pop. We didn't know that it was which supplement it was going to be for, but after seeing them do Sunny D, which was for the Project Blackout pre-workout, you had to assume it was going to be for a pre-workout, even if not Blackout, then another one under the Rise banner. We're going to close out this podcast episode with two more topics. The first of which I thought was just a really cool snack and functional food. The company reached out, and as soon as we saw it, I'm a sucker for creative functional snacks and foods, things that are not your typical protein bar or chip or whatever. So Wild Chips it's not an overly new company, but it kind of just surfaced and popped up on our radar. It's a chip company that makes protein chips, but it's not like your high heavy protein snack that you kind of generally see marketed towards bodybuilders and whatnot. It's more of a mainstream feeling snack with a more kind of open mainstream approach. And the chips, they come in, I think it's 2.25 ounce bag, and in that bag you get a total of 20 grams of protein. So it's similar to your typical protein bar. However, the other macros on the product aren't exactly like your protein bar. They push those calories up a lot higher, so you get 18 grams of carbohydrates and 20 grams of fat, which push the calories up to a lot more than that usual 220 that you get with a bar that has 20 grams of protein. But where the interesting part comes in is that these protein chips are not made with your usual high protein ingredients. They are made with chicken breast and premium pork. So these are meat-based chips they're also made with egg whites, but the twist is that, they're made with actual meat. And I don't know how they're going to taste. They sound very interesting, sound very nice. The macros, like I said, aren't supremely lean. And something that I've said many times before is when the macros aren't super, super low, leaves more room for better taste. I don't know if that's the case here, but I was just very intrigued by the fact that someone made chips out of meat. And I know it's not a completely new concept, but just to focus on that high protein approach, because sometimes you get brands that put together things with these sorts of ingredients, but they never really have that high protein focus. I like how that was the goal here, the high 20 grams of protein. And just to be clear, the chips aren't made with chicken and pork. There's two variants. So there's chicken breast chips, and then they have the pork chips. So they're not combined in the same one. But the macros are pretty much the same, and they do come in a slightly different selection of flavors, as there are 4 for the pork chips, but 6 for the chicken. And they include classic flavors like sea salt and jalapeno, but then you do have some more unique options like chicken and waffles. So they do a nice mix of common and uncommon. But yeah, you can head to the website, just type in wild, that's wild with an E, and you'll find a link there to go and buy them. And they're not too expensive. They work out to be like $4.50 each. That's not as cheap as a protein bar that would have the same amount of protein and less calories. But again, it's a nice, unique, creative snack. So I thought it would be a pretty cool try, especially if you're like me and a fan of the unique and interesting snacks. The last 3 we have is from Raw Nutrition, who I'm not sure if we mentioned it on a previous podcast, but pretty much not too long after Chris Bumstead was announced as the new co-owner of Raw Nutrition, he came out and previewed a product that suggested the two were going to be working on a line of supplements for Chris Bumstead, very much like he had with Jack Factory, which was his previous sponsor. So basically, details came out on those supplements. They launched today, I believe. So if you do go to the website today, you will see full breakdown of the formula and prices and whatnot. But yeah, so Chris Bumstead has indeed got together with his new brand, Raw Nutrition, which, as mentioned, he's the co-owner of. And they've created a CBUM series, and it consists of 2 supplements. There is a pre-workout called Savage, which is sort of his play on the word savage, that he owns very proudly as a shirt with the word on it. And then there is isoprotein protein powder. So it's pretty much the same as Jack Factory, as he had a pre-workout and a protein powder under the CBUM series he had there. Same kind of thing with Raw Nutrition. The Savage pre-workout, I'm having trouble pronouncing that, but the pre-workout is pretty comprehensive, pretty loaded, featuring a formula that kind of delivers in all the core areas you could want, including energy, focus, pumps, and performance. And then you get the protein powder, which is a whey isolate-based supplement, which is much more straightforward. So it's just a straight whey isolate, lean, premium, fast-absorbing, giving you a good amount of protein per serving, and keeping the calories low, with 2 flavors available for each. The pre-workout, if I remember, is rocket candy and blackberry lemonade, and then the protein powder is oatmeal, cookie, and I'm trying to remember and cinnamon. I think it's cinnamon crunch cereal. You're about to grab them. Again, you can check the website for a full breakdown on all of the ingredients and more details on the formulas. But I believe both of them are going to be $49.99 each, and you better grab them from the Raw Nutrition website. And of course, this is ideal time for Chris Bumstead to launch it all. He may seem rushed, but it seems to be all worth it, because Bumstead is, of course, defending his classic physique title at this year's Mr. Olympia, which is taking place this weekend in Orlando. And he'll obviously be looking to defend his title, and I mean, if he does, which he's a 2-time champion, so looking to make it 3, bring even more attention to the supplement line that is now available just in time for that from Step on Stage. But as mentioned, for more details on anything we mentioned here, including that CBUM series, head to stack.com. Give it a search. You might even find it in the featured section at the top of the website on the home page. But for this week's podcast, that is it. Look forward to having you next week. And as always, stay up to date on the website. Thank you.